Here is how to make a perfect Turkish coffee. This is reinvented approach. It's not authentic, but it will give you a greater balance. It is better to fill the pot with up to 70% of its full volume, the grind size. The smaller you go, the more intense cup will be. It will be more rounded and full-bodied, while bigger grind size will give you more clarity, but sometimes could become even watery. I recommend using espresso grind size and smaller. As for the ratio, we use 1:10, meaning for 10 grams of coffee we need 100 grams of water. Preparation: mix the coffee and water, put it on the heat source and mix at around 1 minute to break the crust. We're doing this to beat out the CO2 from the coffee particles, so that they will not float, and CO2 mixed with oils will create a foam layer. This layer will indicate the readiness of our coffee, so that we don't need to use stopwatch at all, or any additional equipment. It will be controlled visually. 1 minute mark is usually pretty universal for coffee pots up to 200 milliliters. But if you're using low or medium heat and your pot is big, there will not be enough water temperature, so you will need to mix at around 2 minutes, so that the water will be hot enough to better dissolve CO2 and oils. When our CO2 foam is ready, we are waiting for it to start to rub. Coffee particles will push the foam from underneath and then create a rubbing motions, usually from the sides. And when you see that the white foam in the center is squeezed from the sides, and by the way, it could be not white but a little bit darker, depends on roast level and coffee processing method. But anyway, from the sides it usually will be darker. So when this spot in the center almost gone, we need to take it off and serve the coffee right away. And yes, we don't need to filter any coffee particles, because they will be in the bottom of the cup as a sediment. So just don't drink the sediment. The beverage will be clean, as filter or French press coffee. And when exactly to take it from the heat will depend on your taste preference and the coffee itself. The more coffee rubs, the higher the temperature and higher the extraction. Meaning if you take it off the heat right when it almost started to rub, the coffee could be more acidic, in some instances even sour. So we need to rub it at least a little bit. And when we make a full rub, it usually can become a little bit bitter. After rub, there is usually a crack of the foam, and then it starts to swirl. Some coffee is better to brew until the crack begins. It's usually for darker roast coffee, because that way it will be more flavorful. But for lighter roasted coffee, it is usually middle of the rub that will give you the most balanced flavor. So if you have a delicate coffee, don't rub it too much. If you have basic coffee with chocolate nuts, use the full rub and probably even crack of the foam. For more details, check the videos in the description and an article.